That's what the West Indies fans must be saying. Got a little too close for comfort there. But in the end, they got it done with 5 wickets to spare. Well, Papua New Guinea will take one thing back from it, that wasn't a one-sided game. They really took the fight to the West Indies. They had got to 136, not a big total, but bear in mind that this was not an easy surface to bat on by any stretch. They got to 136, and then with the West Indies, they've got there with 5 wickets to spare, 6 balls to spare, but in the end it was Roston Chase, the chase master, Jaisa Naam Waisa Kaam, ensuring that he gets the points for West Indies. Was there in the end, but the PNG bowlers will be quite happy with their performance today. The captain, Asadwala, picking up 2 wickets, and John Kariko getting 1, as well as Ali Now, who got a wicket. Should have had 2 actually, but we'll talk about that and a lot more in our show, which is called Cricbuzz Live. I'm Gaurav Kapur, with me Dinesh, Karthik and Joy Bhattacharjya. Fair enough to say, DK, that West Indies will be going... Shouldn't have got that close.
It shouldn't have. They're much better than that. Sometimes not bad to have a bit of a wake-up call at the start of a World Cup like this. Kind of spurs you on to say, okay, we are good, but there are areas that we really need to tighten up. And if it had been a loss, then that puts a different kind of pressure being the home team. But it's good that they just got across the line, and it will, in a way, be a game where they'll reflect back on it and say, you know, we had our moments where we were put under tremendous pressure. Yeah,
if you see, it was a bit of a crawl, Joy, because even in that power play, yes, that last over got them runs. I think they got 16, 17 runs in the last over of the power play and then got to 52. But otherwise, it's not. It was a crawl for them. And look at that, 11 for 2 from 7 to 10.
Absolutely. The pressure was on after that. That's overs between 6 and 10, they were really under a lot of pressure. And I think the spinners bowled really well. Kariko bowled really well. Asadwala, this first over was fantastic. It was a wicket maiden. And I think that's the one thing. 97 for 5, if you see the situation there, it was dodgy. At that point in time, you'd say they're under pressure. Even though they bat till 9, they were under pressure. And I think the most important thing Papua New Guinea can say is, we belonged in the same park as it. Very often you look at them and say that they don't belong here in this big stage. Yeah. Well, they definitely showed they belong here.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the PNG bowlers would be, they'd be happy. It's been a decent day for them.
Oh, most definitely. They were very good in the power play. They picked up a couple of wickets. You know, I don't think they have too much experience with the DRS. They got that call wrong against Nicholas Purin. Yeah. Bowled a brilliant first over. And on a slow pitch, it can be really hard sometimes to play shots right at the start of your inning. And we saw that happen. A lot of the batters found it very hard at the start. But a batter who was found a way to just grind through that initial phase, but be there, was able to finish it at the end. And that's where experience comes in. Sometimes when you play a tournament like IPL, you play on such good pitches, it can be a very different challenge when you go and start playing on slightly slower pitches. But it's good to see them crawl, but find a way to just cross the line.
Yeah, they want to probably take back those 27 runs of Nicholas Puran, right?
Absolutely.
It's like, but I'm just thinking, when with teams that have lesser experience at this level, lesser experience perhaps with DRS, just lesser experience on the field. I mean, I'd have to say the umpire got that drastically wrong. Those were 3 reds. Those were 3 reds from the Nicholas Puran. That was the last ball before the rain break.
Exactly. And the only thing you can say is that he probably thought the ball was pitching outside leg, because he couldn't have thought that the ball was missing the stumps. That's not there in question. I think the bowler thought the same. And it's one of those marginal things that you call. And that's the point. Not having experience, not knowing when to call DRS is something that's going to happen to teams like this. But I'll tell you one thing. What is also going to happen is, this is presaging this tournament for you. Forget those 270, 280 days. Summer is over. That the Indian summer is over. Okay? You've come to a different place. Don't think now. All cricket followers will have to reset the way they think of the game, especially when it comes to the West Indies, when the tournament moves to the West Indies.
The Indian summer is gone. The Russian winters are here. This seemed like Siberia compared to IPL pitches.
The one thing that a lot of the teams will be happy about is the fact that it's morning games means there's no dew. Yeah. So you would play your best cricket. Whether you bat first or bowl first will depend on the conditions of the pitch, not because of nature, in terms of dew coming in and completely spoiling it when you're bowling second. So that is a very good positive that teams will definitely look forward to. Toss won't become such an important factor. It's about who bats well on the given day and who's able to bowl well on the given day. And today, again, a good example of why ICC choosing to play 20 teams, one team competing, and these are the kind of games you're talking about where they're able to push a major nation. And the first game, USA vs Canada, was a brilliant game as well. High-scoring one. This one, a low-scoring one, but a very interesting one.
Yeah, and it's such a good point about the dew, about the surfaces. And Rohit Sharma had mentioned that, and he said that was a factor for taking a fourth spinner. India's got 4 spinners, of course, because a lot of people were thinking this is a JLT thing, just like that. You've taken 4 spinners. There's rationale and thinking behind why India's taken 4 spinners.
Absolutely. You look at the West Indies. They're playing with one specialist fast bowler.
Yeah.
I mean, the rest, Romario Shepherd, Andre Russell, they're all, they're all-rounders. So that's what's telling you, this is very, very different conditions. And I think that's what's going to happen. But I'll tell you one more thing. It's 11:32, okay? We started at 8 o'clock. There's a rain delay, okay? The match went till the 19th over, literally the last ball of the 19th over. And it finished 7 minutes before. What is the one thing that is also making a huge impact? The 1 minute between overs allowed.
Yeah.
So basically, when you finish an over, you have to start the next over within a minute.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you have penalty conditions. And see how fast the match finishes.
Can I tell you something? The match has started half an hour later than an IPL game.
Exactly my point.
20-minute rain break. So effectively, almost an hour after and it's finished at the same time.
In fact, it's finished a bit early. 11:25, most matches don't finish in the IPL.
Yeah, it's 7:30 start, 11:30. DK, sometimes when you're playing, do you go like, I feel like I've been here the whole day. Like, why is this match?
I feel like I'm in a room full of grumpy broadcasters who are upset that the matches don't finish early.
You must be wondering, oh, they're cussing me in the studio.
Wait till you hear Virender Sehwag's take on it.
Well, I'll tell you, Faf du Plessis used to get very annoyed with me, The umpires used to be ready. And then correctly just before when they put their arms down to say play can start, I'll keep stretching. And he'd be like, DK, there was like 5 minutes after you entered the ground, why don't you stretch then? Why just before the first ball is bowled you want to say? Because the timer had already started and that was something that I had to change. But the 2.5 minute timeout, you got to understand, IPL is big money, GK. Yeah. And you got to understand it from the broadcaster's point of view. The more time they get for ads, they're not going to have a problem with it. And there were plenty of, I think, plenty of areas where IPL can tighten up, and one of that is this 1 minute in between overs will be really, really helpful. But if there is 90-second break and they're able to squeeze in a couple more ads, why stop?
No, fair enough. I mean, I say it partly because I'm a grumpy old man late at night, but I am a night bird, so I stay awake. But the second reason I say it is I genuinely feel, in terms of the ads, I feel it's counterproductive because most of India goes to sleep by 10:30. Right? So if you're having a match till 11:30, this is a grouse I've had from a lot of people who are going, we're not being able to finish the game.
So this is a grouse even broadcasters have had, which is why IPL matches used to start at 8. Yeah. Why have they started at 7:30? Because a broadcaster did research and found out that after 10:30, ratings fall off a cliff.
Yeah.
So it is counterproductive in the long term.
I think that soon, like in a couple of years, matches will start at 6. They'll still finish at 11:30, but they'll start at 6. Maybe at 5, 4, become an ODI, and that's when I'll retire. Okay, but let's talk about the teams that were playing today. We'll show you what the batters did for West Indies. There were slim pickings at the top. You see Nicholas Pooran. Geez, Nicholas Pooran really struggled today. Actually, they all struggled up front. Brandon King, you don't see Brandon King scoring 34 of 29. Nicholas Pooran scoring 27 at 100 strike rate. And Roston Chase, well, Roston is very interesting because exactly what DK is saying. He stuck around, and then when towards the end is when he accelerated and got the job done. I think that Chase has, forgive the pun, but Chase has really played this chase well.
True, he played well, though in a way, the way he batted at the start put a lot of pressure on a Robman Powell, on a Shafin Rutherford.
Okay.
It wasn't easy for them because they had to go for a big shot. Now, where the game changed for Roston Chase is, when the game was on a knife edge, they needed 20 balls, 37 runs, or 19 balls, 37 runs. Russell hit a 6 there.
Yeah.
Now, chasing 3 overs, 37 is very different from chasing 3 overs, 31. It immediately reduces the pressure. That 1-6 got that partnership going, and then in that over, he completely went berserk and got 18 runs. So that one shot actually changes the mood, and I can say it very confidently because I remember batting with Mahipal Lamror, and it was a game where I wasn't getting off, and he got a couple of sixes, and then and the floodgates just open because the bowler thinks differently, the team then reacts differently, the field is slightly different to what it could have been, and the whole mood of the bowling unit changes. It's one thing trying to defend 37 of 18 and 30 of 18. There's a lot of difference there. That 7 runs is massive psychologically, and that one shot actually helped because after that Russell didn't do anything special after that 6. He just knocked the ball around, but it was chase all the way after that because he had gone to a place where he had to launch, but the fact that Russell got that shot going eased the pressure on him, and he believed that it can be done, 30 runs.
Yeah, amazing. And look at that partnership. And it's both of them. It's such a good point, DK, because, I mean, the way they were playing, and you imagine the way Roston Chase and Robman Powell were also playing, and we spoke about it in the combox, that you'd expect Chase to just kind of, pitch tent and make sure that he's there till the end. And whoever's the other batter with him will be the natural aggressor.
Yeah, that's what happened till the very end. And actually, as he said, that it's even there the floodgates were opened by Russell. It's the next over that Roston Chase got in and got it. And by the time, see, the second six is always easier than the first six. When you're in trouble.
Yeah, fair point. For the PNG bowlers, geez, I really want to come to this because they've been very impressive today, you have to say. They have utilised the conditions as much as they could. They made the changes. We saw 7 bowlers there. Obviously, we had spoken about John Kariko as the bowler to watch out for. I thought Ale Now in the power play was very impressive. You had 2 wickets for the captain, Asadwala, 1 for Kariko, 1 for Chad Soper, 1 for Ale Now. Tough question, though, and you can give me multiple answers, but who impressed you?
I thought their inexperience showed, and I'll say why. Ale Now bowled the first over wicket maiden, and the next 4 balls of the second over were literally beaten, and batters weren't able to put.
He had 9 dots out of 10.
Exactly. And the last 2 balls went for a boundary. He should have continued Ale Now in the 6th over because Nicholas Pooran and Brandon King were finding it hard to get runs against him. But then he brought the off spinner, which is not a good matchup to Pooran in a power play. Spin against Pooran in power play can be really hard. And he missed that, went for 18, and that helped Pooran. And in a way, eased the pressure on West Indies a little bit. Again, they came back in the game, but if Ale Now had continued and probably gotten a wicket, it would have been a different game altogether.
Yeah, there was 18. So it was a 6, 4, 6, and then 2 singles in that 6th over. It happens though, right? It happens when you're, well, he's not an inexperienced captain, but it happens sometimes when you go with certain plans and you are not that innovative. Innovation also kind of comes with experience?
I think that one is innovation. Secondly, just taking that decision on the spot, saying 2 good overs, because they would have had a bowling plan with Taibu and everyone, got a bowling plan. And that ability, the captaincy, that experience, you will say, 1 more. Let's give him 1 more, let's see what happens. And see, if he ended up bowling only those 2, they couldn't bring him back. Because the fact of the matter is, that's what I was also thinking. Ale now, what is he bowling? He's bowling 115 to 120, keeper up, doing a bit. Now the point is, where in the IPL would you play a bowler like that? You'd play spinners. You've played lots of spinners. You'll play mystery bowlers. You'll play 140 plus guys. How often do you play bowlers like that?
It's a glitch in their matrix.
It's a glitch. So you could see he's not timing it. He's like, nothing is timing. And anyway, the pitch is a bit slow. He's not able to time. The moment the spinner came, it's familiar territory. It's at least he knows what to do against these guys. He's been doing it. You know what I mean?
It's such a good point. I call it the Rajat Bhatia business model.
Yeah.
Right? Rajat in all those years in KKR would just be so difficult. Exactly this.
Exactly. And you know the story that when Rajat Bhatia send his retirement to the BCCI, it reached 3 months later, obviously, like his deliveries.
That's really good. The captain, otherwise, his bowled that wicket maiden, and then, of course...
Again, he bowled a good spell. First 3 overs for 10 runs before he was taken down in the last over, but he brought them back into the game. Those 2 wickets in between really put the brakes on West Indies and gave them a lot of doubts to work with. Very good effort by Asadwala. Batted valiantly with the bat, bowled brilliantly as well. It's just that as a team, to play a World Cup and understand those clutch moments and sometimes find a way to just hang on to certain things, that's very important. Understanding the pulse of the game, all of that comes with experience. But overall, it's a success for cricket that a team like Papua New Guinea is able to push a team like West Indies.
It's for West Indies though, they'll look at this game and what will they want to address after this? What do you...
There's a lot of things they'll talk about. I think they'll talk about plans, and I think they'll also say that, guys, all of you, especially those who are coming from the IPL, make that adjustment. These pitches are going to play very differently out here. So how you mark how much you're going to score, how much you're not going to score, everything in your mind mentally, if you're coming from 220, 230, 250 plus totals and say that's the norm, that's not what's going to be your norm here. Your power play is not going to be the norm. The 65, 70s are not going to be the norm. I think one of them is just mentally putting it down and saying, playing for these pitches. And I think that's one. Secondly, discipline the top order batting. And I think they look at it and say that a lot of those guys threw their wickets away.
And also a couple of key players for them. One is Sherfay and Rutherford. Clearly lack of match practice. Hasn't played for KKR for about 2.5 months. And you can see how rusty he was. Alzari Joseph was with RCB. Didn't play after the first couple of games. Very, very rusty. Bowled a very ordinary spell. Bowled full tosses at the end. A no ball. Bowled full balls that was very hittable at the death. So bowled a few down the leg side. So, those kind of small things need a bit of sharpening. And that's when you can move forward in the tournament. Because when those big moments come against big teams, they'll be well prepared. So you need to go out there all guns firing.
Yeah, there is. Roston Chase did say after the game that we don't want to take any team lightly. And the fact that Papua New Guinea has made it to the World Cup and they're playing on this stage means that they're deserving and they're good enough to be here. So yeah, but it's a good point though. I'm telling you something. There's a lot of other teams that have looked at PNG playing today. They perhaps looked at USA and Canada playing this morning and are understanding that you can't take anyone especially in this T20 format, you can't take anyone lightly because it takes a 2-over spell, 3-over spell to just turn the game completely.
Yeah, I mean, think, it's about 4,000 kilometers away in Port Moresby. There'd be people watching this and saying the mighty West Indies, two-time World Cup champions, 50-over, two-time T20 champions. And we had them in the mat. They were 97 for 5 against us. Think about it. It's a big moment for them.
And they're probably waking up to that right now.
Yep.
They're probably waking up there. Going, whoa, what happened? What happened? 19 overs? Yeah. They'll be celebrating. They definitely be celebrating. It's good. I like it. And if we can get this out of the inexperienced teams, we're calling them the underdogs, if we can get these kind of pushes, these kind of efforts against the more experienced, more established teams, what do we call them? The overdogs? What's the opposite of underdogs? Overdogs?
Top dogs. Top dogs.
Top dogs. I like that. Top dogs. Top dogs. And let's have a look at the points table. Dogs. Here it is. After one game, that's West Indies have got the 2 points and net run rate mein izafa. Do you know what that means?
Improvement, I thought. Yeah. I like it. You slip in Urdu as well.
Izafa, uplabdhi, Hindi word.
Yeah.
I like uplabdhi.
Okay.
Do you know? We're teaching
hearing it
DK.
for the first time.
Uplabdhi.
GK is planning to do Hindi in 3 months. He's so good at everything else.
Yeah.
He'll do it just as a challenge. He'll just do it as a challenge.
We'll do it, DK. Come on.
Uplabdhi.
Yeah? It'll happen. All right. There was, of course, the game this morning. It was USA and Canada. Let's have a look at what happened in that game. As Dinesh just told you, it was a high-scoring game. USA won it. Got the 2 points. He was up at 6 in the morning watching it. Tell us what happened.
Well, Canada got off to a big score, 190. And towards the back end, again, yet another keeper who came in and played a cameo. But it was Aaron from USA.
Yet
94.
another keeper. I like it. Bannon for the keepers is my brother.
Absolutely smashed it. Played the slog sweep to good effect.
Yeah.
Second highest score on debut in a World Cup game after Chris Gale. 10 sixes is what he hit. And the Dallas pitch looks an absolute belter of a pitch. One that looks like an IPL game recreated. Not bad. Why? If I'm right, does Texas Super Kings play that?
I think
That's right.
Prairie Garden is called. Brilliant pitch. It's a drop-in pitch, but wow.
Yeah,
there's so much difference between the New York pitch and the Dallas pitch.
Yeah, apparently from Adelaide. All these pitches have come from Adelaide.
I saw that the New York pitch came from Adelaide. I saw them transporting
But
it.
I think they were all made in
Comes
Dallas.
from Adelaide, it's good news for Virat Kohli fans.
Absolutely.
Nice.
That's a good call. Very
The New York pitch has actually come from Adelaide. They grew it there and then they brought it to Florida. Then they had it in Florida for I think a month or 2 months.
Yeah, you're right. Florida.
Because it was really cold in New York till about a month back. So they only got it to New York a month back and put it in. So in a month they've had to. But they were very happy because in Florida, obviously the conditions are great for grass to grow. So it's just looking nice and...
Yeah, and if you see a few gators walking around the outfield, that's just, they've come with the pitch from Florida.
A few shrimp po' boys lying around in the corner or something, yeah. Well, so that's it. We give you a little horticulture news as well. All right, and then I want to talk about the India-Bangladesh warm-up match that happened yesterday. Interesting. What do you think about... what all did you pick up from this, by the way? So Rishabh Pant batting at 3.
Rishabh Pant smashed it, batted beautifully. They lost Sanju Samson early. Rohit Sharma started okay, but got out. But it was Rishabh Pant's show. Batted beautifully well. The interesting part is, are they going to look at him as the number 3 and number 4, which I think they will. The way he started was very, very good.
Absolutely. I think that's the one thing you're looking at. If Rohit and Virat are playing, they're probably playing 1 and 2.
Yeah.
And then they're going left Rishabh, right Surya, left Shivam, right Hardik. left Jadeja, and then maybe, who knows, Akshar.
I have a feeling they're keen on playing Akshar. The fact that he also gives batting at number 8, I do think they're pretty keen on playing Akshar. And the fact that Chahal didn't bowl, which tells us that they're looking at Akshar to start the tournament.
I like the fact that Shivam Dube bowled a couple of overs.
Yeah, that was right at the end. And
Don't
want to read too much into that because we have 6 good bowlers even without Shivam Dube. But he's a very worthy 7th bowler to have. If push comes to shove, why not?
Yeah, it's
but on these slow pitches, he will be good.
Because when you see teams like Australia,
bowler.
teams like England who have all those bowling options, right? I mean, you see England comes down with 7 bowling options. Australia has 7 bowling options. So it's a nice one.
So if you remember what Simon was telling us, that apparently the word had gone out to all the franchisees for Yashasvi and for Shivam to make sure they couldn't tell them to bowl in the tournament because that's something of decision a franchise can take. But there were requests was sent out to saying, please make sure Shivam Dube gets to bowl regularly in the nets. And it's not the same as match practice, but at least they can.
He bowled very nicely. Bowled the 20th over right at the back end, but bowled a lovely couple of slow ones to get a couple of wickets. He got 2 wickets in the last over.
Yeah.
Bowled well.
Tell me what you think. I know it's tough, but tell me what you think the batting order will be in the first game.
Rohit Sharma, Virat Kohli, Rishabh Pant, Surya, Hardik Pandya and Shivam Dube, Jadeja, Akshar. Then there'll be Kuldeep Yadav, Bumrah and Arshdeep Singh.
Nice. भाई से बैटिंग ऑर्डर मांगा था पूरी टीम दे दी हमको. Nice, love it. Extra, read all about it. You'll have to agree with that.
Absolutely. That's exactly what I was saying. The only thing is at 5 and 6, I think, till 3-4 they'll remain the same order, and 5 and 6 depends on who gets out.
Right, left.
So if the right left, they'll try and keep the right left going then. That's it.
Use it like KKR did.
Yeah.
Right? They use the right left a lot. Okay, let's talk about tomorrow's game. Monday, the first game, the first day of the week is always meant to be boring, but it won't be because it's match number 4 of the World Cup. It's Sri Lanka playing South Africa. This is in the evening, which is India evening, not New York evening. It's 8 p.m. Indian Standard Time that this game is happening. Sri Lanka, South Africa. South Africa, obviously.
No, but first, Cricbuzz is doing all 8 p.m. games. You're not interested in coming at 6 p.m.
I definitely am not. If you guys want to, I'm not stopping you.
You don't want to come though.
No, don't want to. I'm not going to.
You're not going to.
Like, even if I wanted to, I'm not going to.
Your body won't.
I just not going to. Like, if something inside me says, oh no, you must go for the 6 o'clock game, I just won't leave the house. I'm not going to go. My body will supersede my mind. But yeah, by the way, we're doing one semi-finals at 6 a.m. We had no choice. Honestly, I wanted to tell them, let's not do the semi-final.
Did you call the ICC? Was it you who called the ICC about that match?
I did try
you
to
did, right?
call it, didn't connect. I can't confirm or deny any of these rumors. But yeah, but otherwise there's coverage of everything, right? There's articles, there's podcasts, there's carrier pigeons. We'll send pigeons to your house with updates. Everything, every possible update that you want for every game of the World Cup is there. It's just that you're not going to see me in the morning hours. I only show up on the sunsets. Who else do you see at night? Well, let's talk about the Monday game. It's Sri Lanka, South Africa. This was my clean intro because we're going to send this on pigeon later. Sri Lanka playing South Africa on Monday. This is game 4 of the World Cup. South Africa, of course, maybe a little low on confidence, but they didn't have their big middle order guns playing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have a team without all that, Klaasen, Markram, Tristan Stubbs. None of them were there.
Yeah.
So I think you can't judge the South African performance in the West Indies by that. A lot of their younger players were playing. So I think definitely they're a better team than they looked in those 2-3 matches that they played in just before the World Cup. And it's for them, it'll be a good thing that, Klaasen is definitely in form.
Yeah, DK, I just want to bring your attention to, what is this middle order, man? This is a heavy fire artillery.
Absolutely.
Yeah?
It is probably one of the strongest middle orders going into the tournament. Some real good players of fast bowling and spin. Markram, Miller, Klaasen, Stubbs is about as good as it can get. I do think they're, as always, South Africa is a good team and they, compete to be in that top 4. When they push to a corner, at times they've faltered. I really hope this is their year to do well. They're a solid team and I can tell you most bowling attacks will be wary of a couple of players through that middle. But these pitches are not going to be easy for South African batters, especially the Guyana pitch. If it's going to be like this, it'll be a challenge for all the batters. More so the way the South African batters are, it'll be a tough challenge for them.
Quinton de Kock, Markram haven't really set the IPL ablaze, which is the last 2.5 months. Maybe that's the only worry for them with their batting because everybody else is looking.
de Kock definitely, more than Markram. Markram at least captain and had a successful season with the South African
Back in
Sunrisers
yes.
team.
Yeah.
But de Kock is a big, big worry for them because he's one of their top players. He's a big worry for them. The other thing is that comparatively their spinners haven't had too much of an opportunity. So Shamsi Maharaj, because they are going to play a much larger factor in this tournament. You're looking at a very different conditions than what you're looking at normally in South Africa. So I think the way they play the game will also depend a lot on how they play the spinners and how their spinners play.
I just want to bring that South Africa team up again because, of course, they've got very interesting bowling options as well. It's just that in modern day T20, right, you're looking at that all-rounder column and there's only one name there, which seems a little counterintuitive to the way T20 cricket is being played right now.
Now, to be fair, Aiden Markram is an all-rounder as well.
Exactly.
I think, you know.
In these conditions, if he gets the kind of pitch today,
he is
you'd see him bowl 3-4 overs.
As
Yeah,
well, so
fair.
It's only fair that he needs to be there. And if he comes in, then if you play 4 bowlers, then it becomes 6 options. But the question is whether Jansen can play because they'll definitely start with a Rabada.
Yeah.
And, their biggest question mark, I believe, will be Andrik Nokia. He's probably had a very lean IPL. And he's someone who's very key for them. He bowls at the back end of the power play, but through the middle, he's a wicket taker for them.
Yeah.
And he hasn't really fired in the IPL. So they'll be hoping that post the back injury, he's come to the IPL, not done really well. But here is his opportunity. Are they going to start with him or are they going to go to Jansen and back to spinners? That will be a call that they need to take.
I also think, if you look at it that way, Maharaj is not a bad bat at all. I mean, Maharaj is a fairly decent bat.
Gerald Coetzee is a good hitter as well. So, yeah, but I'm talking in terms of like proper all-rounders that play. All right, when you look at the Sri Lanka team definitely looks like a lot more options there. They have no such problem in the all-rounder column. It's like they can go on with like 13 batters and 14 bowlers in their 11. But yeah, that looks interesting. Sometimes you look at that and you go, oh my God, maybe they've taken fewer batters.
But I was just finding it interesting. Angelo Matthews made his way back and he was a star in that 2009 World Cup. He bowled beautifully with the new ball. Keeper standing up, he bowled absolutely beautifully. For him to still be playing, he's one of those few players from the early tournaments. And, the other thing, Thushara and Pathirana together, you're looking at, a very, very different kind of, those two slingy bowlers together in the same team.
Yeah.
And they will be tempted to play them. They will be tempted to play them together. So I'll be interested to see how that goes.
Captain's in good form. That's a good thing.
Hasaranga's back.
Also, that team has a different set of worries. So they played 2 practice matches. One, they beat Ireland comfortably. They lost to Netherlands, but they didn't play the whole team. They didn't bat in the same order and all of that. For them, it is a race against time for injuries. Pathirana is coming back from an injury. Hasaranga is coming back from an injury. Angelo Matthews, picks up an injury very quickly because he's now bowling. He's doing the same role that Joyda was just speaking about, bowls the first couple of overs in the power play. So is he how fit he could be through the tournament? It's a month-long tournament, which is heavy intensity. And, a ground like New York, I don't think they're playing in New York, but if they are, it's a tough ground for people with weak legs because it's a very soft ground. So it takes a lot of effort on your hamstring and calves. So, technical things like this can really put players like that in vulnerable positions. So those are the bigger challenges for them. And ideally, they would love to have a Madhushanka, a Pathirana and a Thushara because all 3 are very, very good bowlers with very different skill sets, even though they have similar actions. And they have a good, solid set of spinners as well with Tikshana and Hasaranga. For them, it's about finding form with the bat and the batters really coming through. They've had Kusal Mendes, Avishka Fernanda used to open, who's not part of the squad. So it'll be Nisanka. Sadira Samar Vikrama, someone who bats at the top. If wickets fall quickly, he goes in. Otherwise, he drops down. Asalanka is someone they depend on. But for me, the key is how well is Hasaranga going to fire with the bat and ball for them. He's a very key player because he seems to lead from the front, enjoy the role of a captaincy. When he was captain in the LPL, they ended up winning the tournament. So he's got a lot of success and they can piggyback on his success as a team. They haven't really had good World Cups in a few years now. They just managed to qualify but don't perform up to the expectations that their island believes in. So it's an important tournament for them. One where they have, in the last series, they beat their nemesis, Bangladesh. They've had some tough moments against them. They were 1-1 in the series, beat them 2-1. So they have some sort of rhythm going to the tournament, some sort of structure to the 11. It's about getting the right players on the park.
Getting the right players on the park and getting them there in time, because otherwise Angelo Matthews will get you. All right? Get your players in on time, South Africa. Just want to bring that Sri Lanka team up again. I just noticed, how many captains can you count there? There's a lot of captains.
Yeah, there's been Mendes, there is Hasaranga,
Mendes,
Angelo Matthews,
Dhananjay De Silva,
Shanaka.
Shanaka.
Yeah.
Shanaka is a fit in at 8 as well. He seems to bat at 8.
Yeah.
So there are quite a few players who have done that. If you do remember, Junit Velalage had a lovely Asia Cup.
I remember that.
Beautifully.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
so but he doesn't start in the 11 for sure here. So they have a good structure to the 11. I'm pretty sure their 11 is. They know what their 11 is.
Yeah.
It's about making sure those players are fit. It could be that they start with a different team and then probably as the tournament progresses, they play a very different team.
Yeah, lots of captains there. Reminds me of the Indian team of the late 80s, early 90s, and the Pakistan team for a very long time.
For a very long time.
Yeah.
You remember the famous story Wasim Akram used to say? That apparently one of the bowlers, young bowlers, finished his spell and he got this thing and wanted to throw the ball to the captain and said, "Here's skipper." And 7 guys turned out to look at him.
Fair enough. There was a time like that. Player to watch out for, Sri Lanka and South Africa. One each.
Hasaranga for me, absolutely. I mean, if he plays, he's such a vital... he's dominated LPL in both bowling and batting. He's been incredible for them. So he's very, very important to them. And I think on these surfaces, it's very important for the sake of... I think South Africa, Klaasen has given them a lot. Markram is their key player because he'll bowl, he'll bat, he'll captain. I think Markram needs to fire for them.
For you?
Kusal Mendes and Klaasen.
Okay. Gone for K factor. Yeah?
KGF.
Kahani KK. You've gone K. Good. You said KGF. I thought you were going to say Rakesh Roshan and Ekta Kapur.
Karthik's KKs.
Karthik's KKs. KKK. All right. No,
Oh, don't go there. Don't go there.
I shouldn't say that.
Don't go there. It's in the US.
Especially when it's in America.
Yeah, don't go there.
This is one of those, if you know jokes. Do you know? Do you not know? There's another thing that you never know. At least I never know. It's the joy factor question. But joy.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, made his T20 international debut in the UAE in Dubai. So the point is some team which has played against the UAE in Dubai and then a team that's played against South Africa in May this year was the West Indies. The West Indies weren't in Dubai then. The USA was in Dubai. Okay. So it's a player who's played for the USA before and then played for the West Indies.
Oh, wait. Yeah.
Absolutely. Hayden Walsh Jr.
Nice.
So,
nice.
So you've got to basically pick. He must have been playing for the US then. Now who is he playing for? West Indies. Who could it be?
Yes. You know something? As soon as you were explaining the question, I was looking at DK and I was like, he knows.
Yeah, he knew.
He knows.
The moment he heard that, he knew.
He knows. All right.
Because it's normally the other way around. Lots of guys have played for the West Indies first and then later played for the US,
Yeah, it's normally the other way around, isn't it?
He's the rare guy.
Interesting. Let's have a look at who got this right. Let's have a look. Who was the first person? Hemant Sharma. Big Gilly fan. He's a big Gilly fan.
I like names like that. It's very clear about what his concept is.
It's so funny because I just got a text from somebody we know called Ambesh who said that please tell Gilly when you see him that I'm a big fan. Literally 10 minutes before our show. Wow, Gilly fans are all over the place, aren't they?
Also, GK, I have to give a clarification. I got that rules absolutely wrong. Head-to-head is not the factor. The second factor is run rate. And, as moment DK was thinking about it, he said it can't be because if 3 teams are tied...
A lot of teams are not playing each other.
No, and if 3 teams are tied, what happens?
Yeah.
And you got it absolutely right. I checked it again. Sorry, guys. Sorry.
No, that's fine. So, but head-to-head does come into play after net run rate.
After run rate. But then normally...
Chances of net run rate being together are the same.
They're very low. Hugely low.
Yeah.
Very, very minimal.
So you were right in a way. You just skipped a step. So that's fine. You weren't wrong. You just skipped a step. So that's fine. Yeah?
Thank you.
That's okay.
I wish my teachers were like you in school.
Yeah, you mixed a batter correctly, but you just didn't put the cake in the oven. Right? Which is why it's tasting a little off. But batter's quite tasty as well. Have you ever tried eating it? It's quite nice. But so I just want to say that the most important part of the show begins now, which is about the guessing game. We got one right, DK and me. But unfortunately, West Indies let us down in the power play. And puri team ki naak kat gayi. Nobody got it right. But here we are. I don't know why. These cutouts though. Did we realize, DK, that cutout is making your haircut look like Tintin?
Yeah, exactly. I'm thinking.
Huh?
You know that Belgium is playing now this year with a Tintin outfit.
Wow, what do you say?
Say, seriously, blue top, little white shirt out here and brown shorts. So it's inspired by Tintin and it's fantastic. So they are my team for this year's Euros.
Is Captain Haddock an impact sub?
And I'm wondering whether they have their coach as a Captain Haddock with the pipe and all
I
that.
would love that. They were like, come on, hit the ball. He says, we're bowling, coach. That's Captain Haddock. All right, well, that's all we have time for. We're going to see you tomorrow at 8 p.m. So do meet us, at 7:30 p.m. The game begins at 8. We'll be here at 7:30 p.m. tomorrow. So do meet us then. Big thank you to Dinesh, Karthik and Joy Bhattacharjya. Thank you, gents. Thank you, gents. Went a little later than we expected, but we're still going home earlier than an IPL game. I'm Gaurav Kapur. Good night.